Hello everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take another look here at Bitcoin, see what's going on, of course, help you understand best practice and big picture. And ultimately too, again, if you're not familiar with the channel, I love teaching people how to trade. This is my day job. I do this every day for a living. So I hope I can learn and teach some things to you, or impart you with some learning, right? English is my first language. All right, anyway, so what I'm getting at, of course, if you want to benefit from being a better trader, CryptoCache.tech is the website. Link in the description below. I send out signals for every trade that I take. We've been taking a lot of profit recently. And more important though, I have a trading academy where you can learn to be a better trader. And of course, an amazing community at your back here. So thanks again to my current community members. You're just absolutely the best thing ever. So deeply appreciate you, and I love having you in my life. Thank you. All right, so taking a look here at Bitcoin, here's what's going on. First of all, one-day chart, we are testing the 50-day set moving average as we speak. We broke above, haven't fully closed above yet, so that's why I always say to wait for the one-day candlestick to close before you have confirmation. But once again, right here at this level, about 40,200 is a key level Fibonacci retracement line, and that is essentially a point of contention. We need to close above that because that is synonymous with the 50-day SMA, and being above that would be extremely helpful. Same thing as well for the RSI. So a lot of things kind of are reliant on this close above this certain level. We're right there at this point. It would be nice to close, 40,400 maybe, 40,500. Anything above 40,200 would be helpful. It'd put us above 50 on the RSI and 50 on the SMA. So again, all good stuff there in that sense. We're almost there. I can feel it, and we'll see here in 7 more hours what happens, right? So ultimately, that's kind of what we're looking at there for Bitcoin on the one day. Now, we already looked at the hidden bullish divergence yesterday in the big picture, and the fact that that's a positive indication of the price likely continuing to increase from here, okay? This could be reflected on the price action here today. Good chance, though, that today, based on the news and everything that's going on with inflation, that's why we're seeing some pretty crazy wicks up and down. In fact, it's been pretty crazy, all things considered in the last few days, generally speaking, with how many significant increases and decreases we've been seeing per day. So again, just a general rule of thumb, be careful. Again, this is a example here. Be very careful of the stop losses you have in place, because they'll either bite you or help you. So I recommend a larger stop loss, preferably a trailing stop loss that moves up with your profit targets. That's how we have it set up, and I always shoot for 3 profit targets minimum to ensure you hit your goals, because you got to set a goal every time you take a trade, right? But more importantly, it gives you some wiggle room there when the price increases and effectively you hit your target, then your stop loss moves to break even and you always take profit. Okay? There's a way of structuring your trades, and I can tell you it's the way that makes or breaks a lot of traders. Taking a look here though at the 4-hour, we're up over both 200 and the 50-day SMA. Awesome stuff. I love to see this here. This is really good. We can get a close above that. We'll be looking good. So once again, 40,200 is going to be kind of reiterating itself as a support level. Awesome stuff there. So like to see kind of what's going on with that. I like to see that we're back up above that. We're also steadily up over the 50 on the RSI and under 70. So we're just this nice little creep upwards, which is perfect. That's exactly what you want to see. This type of ascending pattern. Taking a look here, of course, at the MACD. Not much to really note there in that sense, except for we just still bullishly converging, right? So all good stuff there in that sense. Let's go ahead and touch on, TD sequential, and see if we have kind of a sequence here. And again, it's so sporadic with these ups and downs, it's hard to kind of get a read on consistency. That's kind of a difficult thing in a lot of ways. It's like, is this really exhausted when the price jumped up 2,000 and we're back down to where it started in a matter of minutes? It's hard to really kind of get a read on it, but minus these really strange candle wicks, we can see here that we're at a 7 on this continuation. So we could have potential retracement or consolidation soon, but we could also have the price move up for another 8 hours until the candlestick closes and have a nice close for the day. Again, both cards are on the table, but once again, the key takeaway here is a close above 40,250 would be extremely important and advantageous. All right, so that's kind of where we're at there in that sense with the 4-hour, but it does look very good. It looks promising, like it's going to do that, okay? Looking here at TD sequential on the 1-hour, this tells us a slightly different story. And it's kind of a good story, but also not. And what I mean by that is that we're making higher highs and higher lows, right? So this is extremely important. Of course, we need to acknowledge that. Absolutely helpful. So heaven forbid the price were to come back down lower and just say close lower than we want it to. We'd still be making higher lows, okay? So as long as we get like a higher low close, at least somewhere in the range of just say 39.8, then we'd be in pretty good shape to see a continuation back to the upside. Where we're going to run into some trouble is if our next low is closing around 39,000 or lower. Okay, So we don't want to come down this low, preferably maybe just a little bit here, and we're good. All right. So all in all, that's kind of where we're at there in that sense. Higher lows is fantastic. Also higher highs if you kind of take this candle wick out of the works, right? This really wasn't a fair fair candle wick time frame there, because if you look at this here, oh geez, a 6% increase, roughly. Okay, 5.5% increase, followed by a 6% decrease, right? So again, it's really weird how the movement has been shifting. The market's been moving, but I can tell you though that it's pretty par for the course considering the circumstances. That being said, though, we're at a 9 on TD sequential and we just hit a reset. So we hypothetically have 7 hours left of continuation of the downside. Okay, now what's going to happen next? It's really hard to anticipate that in that sense of knowing specifically what direction, because it is telling us we got kind of some conflicting information, right? On the 1 hour, we're overextended, but on the 4 hour, we have a potential of a couple more hours or a couple more candlesticks, 8 hours. So hypothetically speaking, if we're to get a scenario here where the 1 hour just continues to progress down lower, we should be able to effectively close. If we can close at about, just say between 39.4 and 39.8, we'd be in good shape there to kind of see a return, right? We want this higher low essentially to maintain its higher low, all right? So that's good there in that sense where, this is a fairly healthy continuation pattern, minus this little nonsense here. All in all, Bitcoin is performing quite well. So my anticipation here is that the price shouldn't go too much lower than 39.8, pending the news here in 1 hour with inflation doesn't go completely awry. So pay attention to that, of course. We got some news here today. The likelihood of the price continuing upwards, because once again, inflation's already baked in. We know where we're going to be. Unless they throw a significant curveball here today and have a significantly larger inflation rate, then we should experience an increase, not a decrease. So that's kind of where we're at there in that sense. So just bear that in mind. Bitcoin should continue to progress higher, and we shouldn't see it come much lower based on that sentiment alone. Again, pending no crazy nonsensical news here today, we should see the price continue to increase. Taking a look at the Ichimoku cloud, something to note here as well is that we're getting kind of a little bit on the exhausted side, because you can see the lagging span is going to soon intersect with some price action. Truth be told, this should not even be a factor though. This candle wick up and down is almost as if it didn't happen. It was complete manipulation. You can see a tremendous amount of volume spike and it was like a 15-minute time frame, and then 5 minutes later it came right back down. So, minus that little, insignificant increase, that blip on the radar, we're actually free and clear of any price action here, so to speak, from the cloud. We're well above the cloud itself, and of course conversion lines above the baseline. So leave your long position open if you have one. There's no indication that we're going to see a significant turnaround at this point from Bitcoin. Again, pending the news isn't stupid. I don't know how else to say it, right? If we have some kind of inflation over 0.25%, higher than what we're expecting, then we could see a surge downwards. But if history is any indication of itself, and the fact that, even though we've been kind of amidst a lot of crazy nonsensical news and, wars, etc., you can tell though that the price is maintaining this trend line. So that's something I just want to kind of drive home as a final thought. I mean, if you look at this trend line here, you can see the price is increasing quite significantly. Once again, bottom point was about 35, then 37, now 38, and it just continues to increase, right? So if we can continue this to go, just say it goes over here sideways, it'll still continue to be higher, and 39 will be the next bottom. So there's a lot of different things that could happen between now and then, but the key is we're slowly ascending. We have a hidden bullish divergence still on the 1 week chart, and we've got this really good situation that's occurring right now. So ultimately, yes, minus all this crazy little candle wicks up and down that we're seeing here recently, we should expect the price to continue to progress upwards. Only time we would expect to continue to digress is if we lose, just say, a key level. 37,000 would be the first start there. If we get a close on the 1 day below 37,000, that would be a cause for potential concern, and we'll need to reevaluate things. Between now and then, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Bitcoin is slowly progressing upwards, and it's looking good, and I think we should expect some altcoins to kind of start following suit once everything kind of the dust settles. I think with this inflation stuff being behind us, hopefully later today, we'll be in very good shape to be able to see Bitcoin recover without all this craziness. Obviously, there's still crazy stuff going on in the world today. That's something that will never change, just the world we live in. But unfortunately, at this point, there's no other reason to really worry about, I think, Bitcoin hitting 20,000. Okay. I think we should kind of change our mindset here to just the fact that Bitcoin is consistently making higher lows. And that is an important acknowledgement to take. So take that away from here, of course. Higher lows are a good thing. We're seeing that on the 1 day, 1 hour, and even the 4 hour. Okay, so all good things in that sense. Heaven forbid the price comes down to correct itself a little bit. We'll deal with it. As long as we don't start making lower lows on the 1 day, that's a different story, right? All right. All things aside here, I think we're in pretty good shape. All right, anyways, that's kind of everything there. Enough rambling. Hopefully you make sense of what I said here today. And obviously, if you're not currently a community member, consider joining. Link in the description below. CryptoCache.tech. I look forward to working with you. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks again for your time. We'll see you soon.